What's up? Today let's talk about the Canon Rf 24-70 f2.8. This lens is part of the good old Canon Trinity, so the 15-35 2.8, 24-70 2.8 and the 70-200 2.8 as well. Basically, if you have these three lenses in your camera bag, you shouldn't have any huge problems to get the shots that you need, except you want to take wildlife shots of animals, for example, that are really far away. In this case, even a 70-200 might not be the best option. But in most cases, that's a great setup that makes it way easier to get things done, especially if you don't want to have a lot of lenses in your camera bag. And since we already talked about the Canon Rf 70-200 2.8 here on my channel, we definitely need to talk about the 70-200 2.8 next. And yes, this lens is absolutely great, but expensive. So yeah, you can get one of these lenses for around 2,500 bucks, and if we take a look at it, we can see that there isn't that much going on. We just have the two switches for the manual and autofocus and the one for the stabilization. And the rest are just the zoom, focus and control ring, so there aren't any huge surprises here. Of course, if we zoom in, the lens extends, so keep that in your mind because it is possible that it will collect some dust, sand or all kind of things like that. So far I never had any issues here, but if you want to take a couple of shots on the beach, you definitely need to clean your lens after the shooting. But especially in these days, most of the lenses are built like that, so it's not a big surprise and I never had any issues here. But what I always need to mention is the control ring, because this one is for me one of the huge benefits of the Canon RF mount lenses, because you can actually set this up for a variety of things. For example, I always adjust my ISO settings here, and that makes it way easier for me to get things done, because I don't have to use the menu all the time. I can easily adjust it while taking photos, so it's a perfect addition for my own workflow. I also like the placement of the control ring on this one here a lot, because if you compare it to the RF 70-200 2.8, you can see that on this lens the control ring is way closer to the camera body. For me personally, it's actually way too close to the camera, and that makes it harder for me to use it. However, this totally depends on your own workflow. Another thing that I need to mention is the size of the 24-70, and if we take a look at it, we can see that it's not that big. On top, the overall weight is still fine as well. I had multiple shootings over a long period of time and I never had any issues here. So especially if you want to have a compact setup for a variety of things, the 24-70 is a great choice. But yeah, all in all, the build quality of the RF 24-70 2.8 is absolutely great. I really like the overall design of those RF lenses, and especially in this price category, a great build quality shouldn't be a surprise. If we now quickly talk about the autofocus of this lens, the autofocus is super fast and noiseless, so especially if you don't want to make a lot of noise while taking photos, for example, you can easily use this lens in combination with the silent shutter options in your camera and you're set. I also never had any issues here while taking photos, especially in situations where I had to be quiet. A setup like the R5 plus the 24-70 2.8 is just great. So if you need a good and fast autofocus, you can easily check out this lens. Next, let's talk about the aperture, and of course there are lenses out there that allow you to use aperture settings like f2 or 1.8. For example, the Canon RF 28-70 f2. But a 2.8 lens like this one here is still absolutely fine for most scenarios. It lets a lot of light in and you can achieve a nice bokeh in your images as well. And yes, of course, the image quality of this lens is just great, and I never had any issues here to get the results that I needed. So yeah, in my opinion, the 24-70 is a great versatile lens for a variety of photography genres. The overall image quality that you can achieve with this lens is just fantastic. I've used this lens in a variety of situations, so for example event, nature and street photography, and it never let me down. There's also a quick nature POV photography session here on my channel, so if you're interested in some impression shots of the 24-70 2.8, definitely check out this video. So in the end, the question is it actually worth it to get one of these lenses here? Well, of course, if we compare this lens to other options that are out there, I need to say that the lens like the RF 24-105 f4 here is more affordable, and it offers some more options up to 105mm. And yes, the RF 24-105 f4 is still one of my absolute favorite versatile lenses, but in this case you simply have the f4 limitation in low light situations, and I actually noticed that a lot because I had to use higher ISO settings way more often. But yeah, in this case it always depends on what kind of things you want to do. If you don't shoot in low light situations at all, you can easily pick up a 24-105 f4 and you're set. It is way cheaper and it offers a great image quality as well. But for me, the 24-70 2.8 is a great lens that offers everything that I need to get my work done. On top, if you have the combo 24-70 and 70-200 in your camera bag, you will notice that you mostly switch between these two lenses because it's such a great combo. If you also have the 15-35 as well in your camera bag, you are set for all kind of things, even some really nice wide angle shots. And especially if you don't really know what kind of images you need to take, a 24-70 can be really helpful. And yes, I definitely need to say that it's one of my go-to choices in a lot of situations. The results are sharp, the autofocus is super fast, and the image stabilization in combination with the Canon R5 for example is just perfect to get some great shots. I also really like the f2.8 aperture here to get this beautiful bokeh in my images, and that's why I can highly recommend this lens for professional photographers. But in all kind of other situations I can still recommend the 24-105 f4. But yeah, what do you think about the RF 24-72.8? Write it down in the comments. So, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're new, don't forget to smash that subscribe button to stay updated for upcoming videos, and I'll see you in the next video.